All right, guys, I hope you've made a start on your assignment. If you have any questions, I've been getting a few questions from time to time. That's awesome. I'll do my best to respond as quick as I can. Please don't wait to the very bitter end. I could only answer so many questions at a time. The sooner you make an initial crack and at least explore your property and get through some of those first questions, the better. One thing before we get started, I just wanted to, the life of the academic in this place is they kind of put a gun to our head and they make us make exams months before we actually need the exam. But that's just the way the system works. So I need to make your exam now. Now I'm toying around with what your essay question is going to be. We'll have an exam review, and I'll explain to you guys. Use the resource that is the exam base in the library if you don't know what that is. Any of you guys who are not first-year students will know exactly what that is. All past exams are kind of public. You guys have access to them. Take advantage of that. Look at the past exams for this course the last 2 years. You will see the essay question from last year. I can guarantee you it will not be the same essay question. Yeah, which is a bit of a bummer, I know. But where I am leaning towards now, and the reason why I say this is that it's next week's material, so I figured I might as well tell you. That way you could, when you watch the lecture material, you can maybe take extra notes, maybe watch it really, really carefully, rather than having to go back and rewatch it, which you will probably do anyway. Residual land value. And I know you probably haven't looked at the next lecture yet, but that probably will be the basic topic that I'll ask. Now, it's a very, very fine double-edged sword by me telling you that. I'll tell you why. If I tell you what the exam topic is and I narrow it down nice for you, I am going to expect amazing essay answers from you. All right? Flawless. I'll be very, very critical of how you respond to the essay question. But anyway, I thought I'd do you a little bit of a favor. And so when you get through watching next week's lecture and you hit the material, I think it's at the end of lecture 9 or whatever it is, on residual land value, think in your mind this is going to be the big chunky essay question on the Property 102 exam for this year. All right, so take good notes and begin thinking of, you need to be master and commander of that topic. All right. Anyway, I'll mention this again during next week's review, and again during the exam review at the very end of the semester. But I figure I'd give you a little bit of heads up so you make the best use of your time when you're watching the upcoming lectures. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the discussion questions for this one. And this is determining market value. So, my game options, randomize the order of the answers, everything else is sweet. Okay, remember this is UPI only, please. Oh, no. Good. Okay, UPI only, please, 959-919. Oh, no. All right, come on, you guys at home. I know you're behind. A few more moments. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, you're going. The number's going down. No good. Okay, 6 questions. True, false. QV Cost Builder's base building costs tend to include internal fit-out costs for all building types, residential, office, etc. Is that a true statement or a false statement? Base building costs. These are per square meter. Good. That's right. It is false. Let me tell you why. Okay. When you get into residential and some uses, residential is probably the main one, the cost that you will receive is largely totally fitted out. Okay, you'll have your little kitchen and stuff like that. Now there are exceptions to that, even in residential. Okay, when you move into office, industrial, it generally is shell and core, particularly office and retail. Okay, industrial, on the border. But definitely office and retail, say a brand new spanking building downtown, it will not be fitted out as part of the initial state. It'll be shell and core. There's different names for it, but shell and core is the one that I know. And you'll basically have concrete subfloors, no floor finishes at all, nothing above you. You'll have the basic services. So here's your sprinkler system. You'll have your heating, ventilation, air conditioning system, the basic ductwork and stuff like that. But everything else, the tenant needs to put in, all right? So when you go through QV Cost Builder, not so much for this project, but just in your glorious property careers, keep in mind that those are no fit out. And you'll see extra line items for fit out, standard fit out of office space, luxury office, things like that, that you would have to have additional line items if you want to understand the cost for having a fitted out office, for instance, okay? Even in retail, and this relates to your guys' assignment 2A, even in retail, there's some things, I mean, you kind of think that, well, doesn't the carpet or the floor finish come with the house? Well, technically it isn't really part of the house. Even though you go buy a house, you'll tend to have floor coverings. Those floor coverings technically are chattels. They're things that maybe way back in the day, you just lift up the rug and take it with you, you know, as a tenant. Way back in time, windows were chattels. So your tenant would take the window and take it with them to their next home. So obviously windows are no longer chattels, but things like carpet coverings are. So anyway, those are things that would need to be added back. And of course you have whiteware and stuff. Again, in the lecture I go through this, and those are things you need to include in your cost approach. Okay. Next. To reflect wear and tear and reduced functional utility, valuers apply an annualized cap rate based on the subject's age. Is that a true statement or a false statement? An annualized cap rate. I've bold-faced it. Okay? Okay, no, it is not a cap rate. That's why I know maybe the boldface is not bold enough. It is a depreciation rate. Yeah? So I know it's like evil. Gosh, cap rate, all these rates, discount rates, what the friggin'. Okay, please pay attention. Yeah? And remember, if you don't know, you absolutely have no earthly idea, probably go false. All right? Not always a guarantee, but it's a good rule of thumb. Okay, so here we talked about in the lecture. Okay, here's a fixer-upper. All right, so the concept is that would be the new equivalent. That's what you actually bought. Obviously, there was some depreciation between what you build new and what you bought. Okay, that was the sense of what I was trying to get across. So we have to account for that difference, because the new build cost is going to be higher than kind of the reality out there on site, the subject. So we need to adjust for depreciation. All right? Now, the method that I have you guys use is the quick and dirty method. There are other methods, and I talk about it here, and this is much more like the sales comparison approach, but it takes a lot of effort. You not only have to do the sales comp kind of, just for this, but you have to go through and do a huge amount of work for the cost. Shh. Come on, guys. You could talk a whole lot when you're actually trying to answer a question, but not when I'm trying to talk about this stuff. So this takes a lot of effort, all right? So nobody really does this. And one thing I try to get across in the lecture on this stuff is in residential valuation, it's It's the pogo stick, okay? It's sales comp, sales comp, sales comp, sales comp. To hell with income and to hell with cost approach. Now, you guys are students, so I'm going to make you do the three-pronged official version, but in reality, the cost approach is kind of, so why would you bother going through the nitty-gritty, getting down to this level of detail, when really the cost approach is not the main thing you lean on as a valuer? So you're going to do sales comp. But I just want to make sure you're familiar with, there's other ways to do it. So there might be situations where you don't have any sales comps at all, and you have to, bless you, you have to put this together, and you have to go through this effort to try to get as realistic and as accurate value estimate as you can. Okay. Next, let's see if you can do better. Total change of guard over here. True, false again. Oh. The key residential attribute is utility. Attributes is utility, bedrooms, okay? While the second most arguably, well, I can't even read this stupid thing. Terrible. Is land development, is the land's potential development, subdividable. So is that true or false? If you guys can interpret the garble that I put up on there. Now that's good. See, I was really hoping that because I told you always go for false if you don't know, that you guys would all go false. But that's awesome. Look at that. Look at the accuracy there. You guys are doing so well. Very well. Okay. Anyway, that's a slide. It's pretty self-explanatory. When you guys go through your assignment and you're looking at things like market rents, okay, the reason why they break out their data, MB, the government, by bedrooms and kind of typology of apartment, unit, house, because that's very important, okay? The bedrooms in particular are critical. So you go from 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom, totally different utility, totally different rents, okay? So really these little red areas are absolutely vital, okay? The more bedrooms you have, the more utility you have, and the higher value you're gonna get, okay? Very important. Next, let's see something other than true, false. Another true, false. Unlike direct capitalization, DCF is implicit and involves a cross-section, 1 year, of net income. Is that a true statement or a false statement? Come on. Do not split this one 50-50. Do it just like the last one. Almost everybody gets it right. That's what I want. That's pretty good. Excellent job, guys. And you hit false. Very good. Okay. All right. So here in the lecture, we talk about this. So if you're dealing with direct capitalization, it's implicit. Okay. You're making it's one simple set of assumptions. You're not doing explicit cash flows and having to make all these big long strings of assumptions. Doesn't mean it's better or worse, okay? And then you have the explicit discounted cash flow, where you're actually looking at a time frame of years usually, 5 years, 10 years, a long period of time, and you have explicit assumptions of what are the cash flows that are going to come in, outgoings, incomings, and anyway, those are the two critical differences. In this course, we focus on residential. We pretty much do direct cap. We don't really deal with discounted cash flow at all. When you move on in the degree and you get into the valuation course, particularly in stage 3, you'll start getting more and more into income-producing properties and valuing office buildings and retail centers and things like that, and it's all DCF predominantly and dealing with more explicit cash flows. Okay, do I have anything else? No. Next, come on. Do I have something other than true, false? Okay, here we go, finally. DCF analysis is an explicit exercise that adjusts cash flows to blank value based on an assumed discount rate. So what is that expression? Present value, market value, investment value, or future value? What are we doing? We're taking all these cash flows and we're adjusting them to what? Oh, you guys are so clever today. Excellent. Now this is one of those things that, you know, you might You might be through your third or fourth course at university, and you might sit there and say, present value again? You know, time value of money? Why do they keep on hammering me with this? Because it's really important concept. It's an absolute vital concept. So yes, in many courses you will encounter, and this is just the very first dabble for some of you, time value of money is absolutely critical. Okay, you have to understand and appreciate time value of money. All right? That's all about bringing these future cash flows. The further they go out into the future, the less valuable they are in terms of present dollars. So we discount them all the way back to the present, and that's how we kind of balance up and make investment decisions. Okay, last one. Using direct capitalization, what's the market value? What's the market value property? Okay. Okay, here's some variables. You got an EGI of 100K, an NOI of 10K, a cap rate of 5%. What's the damn thing's worth? Direct cap. Which numbers do you use, and what do you do with these things? Okay. I don't know what I'm going to get here. Okay, not as flash. Now I'm going to boot up some really high-powered software to solve this thing, okay? Really high-powered. If I could find it. You know, sometimes it's hard to find. There it is. Okay, super high-powered. Almost crashed my computer. Oh, it did. It disappeared. Okay. How am I supposed to use it if it goes away? Calculator. Oh, okay. There's gremlins. All right. So what we're doing, first of all, you will see at least one question like this on your exam. I can tell you that for sure. I might even ask a few, simply because I see results like this, and you have to be able to calculate these things. Okay. One of the things that I tend to do is I will give you more information than you need, which I know is really naughty and makes life more difficult for you, but that's what I'll do. I'll pump all kinds of really tasty terms and information on there. You don't need EGI, all right? Doing anything with EGI is not going to help you. What you need is the NOI, and that's net operating income, all right? So you take your 10K and you divide that by the cap rate, which has disappeared now, which was 5% in decimals. So 10,000, 10,000 divided by 0.05 equals, all right? And that equals 200,000. That's the value of the property, all right? So chuck that away. If I give you some extra stuff like that, just throw it in the bin. If you're asked to do direct cap, it's really NOI, capitalization rate, okay? If you're given a discount rate, I think I might have given you that too, a little bit of extra info. You don't need that. You need a capitalization rate, all right? So you'll have at least one or two questions like this. They won't be worth the world on your exam, but you need to be able to do some really simple little calculations like this. And the ones that I'll give you, you don't even need a calculator. It'll be really simple if you divide and figure it out, move a decimal place over or something like that. But deal with the right numbers. Okay, who are the winners? MLaw, CBIG. Okay, sorry, no candies for you now. We'll move on. Tournament number 1. Okay, sweet as, bang. Okay, this is for chocolates. You can put whatever you want in there. No UPI is necessary. 393976. A. J. Yeah, if you guys want to leave, that's cool. I'm not going to think bad of you. I know you guys got things going on. Trump 2020, oh boy. All right, I'm cutting it at 100 if you get there. There it is. Okay, 5 questions. Here we go. In terms of cap rate and gross rental yield for a given residential investment property, the cap rate will always be higher, cap rate will always be lower, they will be the same. It's a trick question, residential doesn't deal with cap rates. That's right, it'll always be lower. Its capitalization rate is always going to be dealing with net operating income, all right, after expenses, where gross yield always deals with just the gross revenue. Excellent. Magic stork. Whew. Okay. What is capitalization in the direct cap method to estimate value of an income-producing property? Well, I really butchered the wording of these things. What is capitalized? We just talked about this. Vacancy collection loss, that's what VCL stands for. EGI is effective gross income. OPEX is operating expenses. NOI is net operating income. Very good. Excellent job. In direct cap, the overall cap rate reflects what? Both the return of and the return on investor capital, only a return on investor capital, only the return of investment capital. None of these are correct. There you go. It's an all-encompassing rate, okay? Go Magic Stork. 4 or 5, which property type is not generally appropriate for the income capitalization approach to value? Retail, hotel, office, none of these answers are correct. What can it be? Oh, you guys are tough to trick today. That's right. Residential would be the answer, but it's not there. Ooh. In the US, valuers use a grid method and make explicit dollar adjustments between sales comps. Is that true or false? This is a very broad statement, but it comes out of the lecture. That's true. All right, here we go. There's BB-8 here. Thick. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, where's Mike Crotch? Oh, next to thick. There's Big Muscles KO. And Shid and Fard. There you go. Awesome. And we continue. Term number 2. Okay. 168398. I know I'm going to have 2 spares, so since there's hardly anybody here today, who has not really gotten one of these genuinely? You've genuinely never gotten one? Or are you lying to me? I don't trust you now. Has anybody genuinely never gotten one of these? Yeah? There you go. Okay, I got 1 more spare. Somebody on this side of the room. Oh, wait, it's not this side of the room. All 3 of you guys never got one? Never. Okay, you guys can share this one. Yeah. There you go. Oh, jeez. All right, here we go. Last 5. What do we got? Oh. A key market level attribute to control for in sales comp approach is market conditions time. Is that true or false? is true. That is a key thing you need to watch out for. In some markets, they're flat as, but in almost all the times, markets are rising or falling, and you need to track market conditions. You can't use a 6-year-old sale in your comps, technically. The sales comp approach tends to be the best of the 3 approaches for all property types. Is that true or is that false? Okay, that is false. Ugh, but scary to see so many. The reason why it's false is some property types, like retail, the income producing ones are they are not homogeneous. So the buildings are so different from one another, it becomes a little bit tough to do a sales comp. All right, it's really tough to do it. They're so different. Whereas in residential, that's where you use them the most. They're fairly homogeneous, and you can find house sales like what you guys are doing for your assignment fairly close by that happened recently that are kind of similar enough. You know, you can't do that with income producing properties so easily. Hee hee. Okay, 3 out of 5. As drainage is below the surface, it is part of the land cost rather than improvement cost. Is that a true statement or a false statement? All right, that's false. The land, think of as it's an abstraction, okay? It's not even anything really. Even the grass on the surface of the land that's actually part of the land, the trees and all that stuff, they're all improvements, okay? The land is just this abstract concept of location. So things that are embedded in the below the surface, those are all improvements to the land. Okay, 4 or 5. Soft costs are largely a function of a project's hard costs. Is that true or false? Man, almost 100%. Very good. Hee hee. 5 out of 5. QV's base building. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. You've already been asked this question. Okay, speed. Oh, come on, you guys. All right, the majority got it. All right, is Hee there? Yes. Where's Hee? Good job. Wayne Keene. Where's Wayne? Over where? I know, I promised to bring my glasses. I didn't do it. All right, crust. Oh, yeah. Is EJE here? Ooh. Oh, wait, there's one more. Oh, Steve. How did I blow Steve off? Sorry. All right, guys. I'll see you next Thursday. Hey, Steve. Thanks. See you guys. Remember to ask me any questions you got on your assignment, okay?